Hey, what's up, guys? It's Paul here. So today we've got something a little bit different. Now, as you know, I've started bringing on entrepreneurs, people who are crushing it in the industry. And today we've got Iman. Is that how you pronounce your name? I don't want to get that wrong.
Iman.
Iman. Okay, Iman. So there we go. I got that wrong straight away. So we've got Iman. Now, obviously, I teach you like SEO guys. Obviously, you guys know me, but Iman actually does cryptocurrency. Now, about 10 years ago, I waxed about 100 grand in UK money on shares. So I can remember a friend of mine saying, "Oh, you want to get some Bitcoins because they're going to go through the roof." And this was like 2011. And at the time, I'd lost all this money in shares, and I was a little bit scared of like, yeah, okay, well, that sounds a bit, it sounds a bit risky. If I'd have actually taken advice, I wouldn't have been even needing to work now, right? Because like they went crazy. But yeah, so first of all, I just want to say hello, man. Thanks for coming on. I have no idea where we're going with this conversation, so I'm going to let you lead.
Sure. I mean, cryptocurrency is a crazy place right now. It's a really crazy place. It's the wild, wild west right now. And
really,
even right now, slowly the governments and stuff are starting to get involved because they're trying to maintain it, control it a little bit because it is getting pretty crazy. So
yeah. So like before we get into kind of where the opportunities and that lie with that, I would like to know a little bit more about you, if that's cool. So just before we started this interview, I was watching one of Iman's videos, and he was in Becca's mastermind. He knows Becca. So we kind of have followed some of the same paths, because I originally was in one of his courses like 5 years ago. And and obviously both myself and Iman, sorry, could you just tell me your name again?
Use Iman. Iman's good.
Iman. Okay, Iman. Sorry. So yeah, Iman basically have kind of, we've fractured off to different things, right? So so I'm just curious as to like what led you sort of from, where did you start and what was you doing originally and then how did that get you sort of down this path?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we had pretty much the same origin story, right?
Yeah.
You saw an ad about, SEO, starting an SEO business, whatnot. And I got started with that. I was 17 when I got started with SEO.
Yeah.
And by 18, I already had like a 6-figure business. So I had success relatively young. And it was because of that. And because of Becker, especially because I went to his mastermind, I spoke to him, and at the moment when I was talking to him, he was having his little midlife crisis thing as well, where he was deciding what he wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
Before he was doing what he was doing now. So that kind of rubbed off on me, saying that, what he was saying to himself, okay, well, I made all this money, but what I really want to do for the next 10 years of my life. And that rubbed off on me at a relatively young age. And I went through like a transformational phase in 2017. And I decided to stick with crypto. And that's really what I want to do for the next 5-10 years of my life.
Cool. So you were trying lots of different things, a bit like me, probably throwing spaghetti at different walls with using SEO tactics. I'm imagining, you know what a PBN is, obviously, what the whole strategies that was happening at the time. And to be honest, because I think, like, I don't know if you'd agree, you might disagree, and that's cool if you do, but like, I think that Facebook ads were probably more powerful back then, but not really well used. They were a lot cheaper and they were a lot better to utilize. In fact, actually, perhaps maybe the algorithm wasn't as good as it is now, but you could get a massive ROI on Facebook ads, but like everybody was focusing on SEO, and then suddenly everybody sort of shifted towards paid advertising.
Right.
As soon as Facebook started to take off, right? I think that was, and then Becca sort of shifted from SEO almost immediately to e-commerce, right? He kind of went straight over, which was a smart move on his part, I think. But I don't know. Did you try e-commerce by any chance?
No, not really. I mean,
no.
I did it. I played around with it when I had extra time. I mean, funny enough, like when I started my journey, I actually had a 9-to-5 job. I was 17 and I was working at a data security company. So I'd had my 9-to-5 job. I would build my SEO business in the evenings and I would study cryptocurrency at nights.
Okay. Yeah.
So like, it was pretty crazy.
How old are you now, man?
22.
22. So from 17 to 18, in the first year, you got to six figures. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you started. So when you were 17, I was 42, right? And
Right.
I literally was flat broke for 4 years. So I was studying the same stuff as you, but if I'd have got into cryptocurrency, maybe I'd have had a success a bit sooner, right? Because I literally, it took me a long time to get my head around a lot of things. And I was doing like, I tried drop shipping, I tried like putting up WordPress sites, and then I tried ClickFunnels, I tried all these different things, and I just couldn't get anything to work for a long time. I was like really struggling. So that's really cool that that you just kind of went straight in and you managed to get to six figures in the first 12 months. That's amazing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was still a struggle. I mean, like I had an agency back then, so I really remember it. I was going to university at the time, so it was my first year of university. It was just before I turned 18, and I was cold calling businesses to sell them my SEO services in the stairwells of the university. I would go somewhere where it's quiet. I would go in the stairwells, cold call them to start building my business, and that's where it all got started. Like it was a grind for sure.
They didn't have a library at your.
I mean, I did some cold calling in the library as well, but.
Oh, for the cold calls, right? Of course, yeah. Libraries is quiet. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, cool. Yeah, man. So so you were literally doing that, and then so when you started getting into cryptocurrency, I'm imagining then you kind of got in on the wave before it went skyrocket, or was you after that wave?
Yeah, I got in early 2016, so it was way before that wave. Bitcoin was less than $1,000. But I didn't create content in 2016. I was learning, I was moving forward with it. And as a lot of people do in crypto that are new, they get scammed. I got scammed in crypto, right?
Really?
Like you see a lot of these Facebook posts saying, "Oh, make 10% a month by just investing 5K." A lot of those garbage stuff out there like that. And, but I really obviously I lost some money on that, but I really love the industry. So I was like, there's a lot of people making money on this. So how are they doing it? So I decided to stick with it, study it. And that's pretty much how the journey began.
I guess the thing is, I think when you get volatile industries, that's potentially, again, you can correct me here if you think I'm completely off track. And please do, because I really don't know what I'm talking about. But I think like with shares, when I was doing share dealing, when things like in 2008, I made a lot of money. And that's kind of what sort of hooked me in, because share prices were going like that every day in everything because of the big crash, right? So share prices were kind of going all over the place. And it was quite easy to kind of buy some shares, sell them at the end of the day, actually the other way around, sell them at the end of the day and then buy them back in the morning and then sell them. And I started making a bit of money. I mean, I was not dabbling like too seriously. I was kind of just playing really, but I was making quite a bit of money. And then actually when things started to level out, that was when I started to lose all my money, because I was, going into shares that had kind of spiked and then were going down. And so, and I think with cryptocurrency, I guess if it's volatile, that's potentially a way you can make a lot of money, but also I can imagine in a way you could lose a lot of money really fast.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you want to start active trading, which is like swing trading, day trading, volatility is king. Like there's over $60 billion being moved in and out of crypto every day.
Yeah.
So just being actively traded. So that's what that is. But I got started with more like passive investing, just buying and holding, understanding which coins to get into, which projects to get into. So that's pretty much how I got started off. And then later on, I started learning the other stuff.
Yeah. So just most of my audience won't know what that is. So would you mind just elaborating on what passive investing is?
Yeah, for sure. Passive investing is what it sounds. You just buy and hold. But back then,
it's like a craps table. You put until the sevens rolled. Actually, the sevens never rolled, right? Is it? Because you could literally leave it on, even if they go crashing for a few years, you've still got your money on the table. Is that right?
Yeah. So you pretty much hold an asset. But the key part of it is back in 2016, 2017, when everything was booming, all the coins were going up, right? It was like everything, even the crap coins were going up. Yeah. So you couldn't really lose back then. But what ended up happening was the crash of 2018. Bitcoin went from almost 20,000, crashed 3,000, and it purged all the crap coins. All the coins that did not weren't really proper, right? And the coins that survived are the projects, the teams that did well. And for those of you that don't know, cryptocurrency tokens or altcoins that I'm talking about is pretty much companies that let me give you an example, like Starbucks, right? Starbucks has their own points. All you have to do is replace the word points with currency, and that just pretty much means that the Starbucks points is a currency inside the world of Starbucks, right? So you can.
So when you go and buy a coffee and then they give you something on the card, that is what you're referring to, is it? Or or do they actually have a cryptocurrency themselves?
No, not the cryptocurrency. I'm just thinking this as like a example because
as example, yeah. So when you go and buy a coffee, you flash a card.
Gives you like some points.
They give you some points. Yeah, yeah.
Like Starbucks points. You go to the gas station, they give you some gas station points. Yeah, just replace the word points with currency, and that's pretty much what it is. It's like companies creating their own cryptocurrencies on the blockchain, and the blockchain is the reason why crypto exists. It's just the technology,
right?
So you really have to really like understand the technology and the company behind it. So that's where I started really studying.
So I know I knew there was a kind of a cool story about people having buying laptops or buying computers with 100 bitcoins or 1,000 or whatever it was. They were kind of issued with them, and then there was people like digging around skips to try and find them because they were worth like hundreds of thousands or something like that. So do you know that story before?
The only thing I've heard about is like when people back in the early days when Bitcoin was easy to mine because of the having pretty much every 4 years it gets twice as hard to mine Bitcoin. So before, back in the day, it was really easy to mine Bitcoin. You could even mine it with like your laptop. And this happened with one of my buddies where he was mining Bitcoin and then he lost access to his wallet or his computer and it had like almost 100K in it.
Okay.
So yeah.
And what is the process of mining? Just I kind of know, but yeah, it'd be good because there'll be a lot of people watching this that don't even know what that means, I think.
Yeah, I mean, with mining, it's pretty much you have to solve like a mathematical formula, and it's really hard to do that by just hand. So you bring on computers to do it, right? You bring on like really powerful computers to solve the formulas, and then when you solve it, you get a Bitcoin. That's pretty much the process of mining. It gets really technical and in depth, something that's it's just crazy. But pretty much the more powerful your computer is, the faster it processes the equations, solves the equations more and whatnot, and it rewards you with some Bitcoin or whatever you're mining.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and why would they give you Bitcoins for solving a problem?
That's pretty much the way the system's set up. The system's set up in a way there's a finite amount of Bitcoin that's supposed to be in the market. And in fact, you mentioned 2008. That's when Bitcoin was created, is because of that crash. Yeah, I think like a small group of people got together and they said, well, screw these guys. Let's make our own currency. And that's
and it's kind of that anarchy about it, isn't it? Like the fact that it's not connected to banks and like that. It's kind of cool.
It gets a bit weird on that sense because like the community gets split. There's some people that are like that just want to keep it completely away from the banks, completely away from the hands of the government and whatnot. Yeah. But I think like I don't care. Like I don't care if the government whatnot gets involved because it just means it's more regulated. And if it's more regulated, more hedge funds, billion-dollar companies and whatnot get into it more. So
makes it more stable, makes it go up. Yeah. Wow. So, by the way, some of that stuff that I was asking you about, I know that there's going to be some people that, some of my audience are yelling at me going, Paul, you really don't know what you're talking about. And some of them are going to get some value out of that. I think Iman's probably thinking, my God, this guy really doesn't know. But yeah, I really don't.
I mean, that's why I do what I do. To get people to understand about this information. There's a lot of, and the main reason why I do this is because there's a lot of, not that many good people in the crypto space, right? Yeah. Since it's relatively new, there's a lot of people trying to take advantage of people. Right. So I really want to make it like a mission to be a spot or a place for someone to actually fully learn a lot about not only what cryptocurrency is and does, but also exactly how to research the right coins, get into the right coins and whatnot. So
cool. Yeah.
that's pretty
And to
much
be
my
honest, like
philosophy.
to be fair to you, there's a lot of that goes on in info marketing and digital marketing. It goes on in all facets. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, I've when I see Bitcoin ads, I tend to look away just because it scares me. Right, I would
Yeah.
look at that and think I could lose all my money. That's the first natural thought that comes into my head.
Yeah.
And then, because I lost £100,000 in shares, again, I didn't invest in any courses. I didn't, I read a book on Warren Buffett, but, that didn't, and I think for me, it was kind of, I had some money in the bank. I was doing quite well back then. And I had a bit of money in the bank, and it was kind of like, I was prepared to lose it. I didn't really want to lose it, but I was prepared to lose it. And when I did, I didn't sweat it too much because I lost it. And then when I was broke, it kind of forced me to really, get my back against the wall and get stuff done. So for me, obviously that has left a scar. It hasn't bothered me that much, but it has put me off anything like that in the future because I obviously, you can, I get the sense that you can go into something like that just with, just sort of tiptoeing in, and then you can get a bit addicted, and then next thing you know, all your money's gone. So, kudos to you for kind of stepping up and actually helping people and being authentic and actually stepping out to help people with this. So, I think that's really good because I think there's a lot of people very interested in, cryptocurrency. I mean, I know there is. It's crazy. There's a lot of stuff out there. So did you start to make like some good money with crypto yourself, or did you start to? And is that kind of when you started to show people what you knew? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I got in 2016. I did not only get in Bitcoin, but I got into some the smaller coins as well. There were a couple pennies that blew up to a couple $100. So yeah, I got some success for myself, and I believe it was 2018, January of 2018. It was after 3 years of 2 or 3 years of really being in the crypto game itself, which is relatively long because the crypto market is like 10 years old, right? So
Right.
After I got my success, I started noticing that, okay, a lot of people want to learn about this, but don't really know how to get in, and it's safe. And literally majority of what I really talk about is how to stay safe in the cryptocurrency market, because that's a huge part, how to stay safe and how to protect not only what you get, but how to grow it as well. So, I mean, to be honest, like you're literally my target audience. You're literally the type of person that I would bring on into my program and show you how to get started from scratch and how to set up your accounts and move forward, and eventually how to give you the tools and skills that you need to not only call out the BS coins, but also find ones that are relatively good.
Yeah. So because you said to me that you target men over 45, right? Is that generally men over 45? Would you target women as well, or generally just men?
Yeah, I mean, we have actually a lot of our successful students are women.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
that's because I think they just listen more and they take action, like that. But yeah, it's usually the average person that joins the program is over 45. We have some people even in their 90s that join because they really they see the power of it, right?
Yeah.
Because what's really happening inside the background is it's not being talked about on the news, but you see these big corporations, billion-dollar companies, banks, governments creating their own cryptocurrency. Like they're actually doing it. Even the UK bank chief, Mark Carney, right? He's one of the bank chiefs in the UK. He's proposed the banks and all over the world to start creating their own digital currency. So there's a lot of stuff happening inside the digital currency world where our world is slowly shifting to that model, but it's not, no one's really talking about it. It's not on the news. No one's really knowing about it. So when you start seeing these stuff come up, you're like, well, I got to learn about this, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that you if it's happening and it's only going to, like, it's not going away, which I gather it isn't, and it's something that is, people invest in property, people invest in shares or stocks, as you call them in America. People invest in all sorts of different things, and cryptocurrency is another. Art. People invest in art, right? Art's, very volatile as well. It depends, one artist could be in one day and then and I think the thing, and property is definitely volatile, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely a skill. I mean, I made a lot of money in property actually, but yeah, I mean, in terms of shares, obviously that's not something that I learned. With property, I think it's like you say, you can leave the money on the table with crypto. You can also leave the money on the table with property. So if it dips, you just rent out the property, right? And then you keep it until prices change, which they will, maybe not today or tomorrow, but they might, in 5 years or 10 years. And
Right.
inevitably they will, because it's always going to go like that, regardless. It's never going to go one way.
Yeah.
Because property is always going to have a lowest point and then it will go up. And I think that, it's the same with shares, and it's the same, I imagine, with I was going to say Bitcoin, but it's not just Bitcoin, is it? How many cryptocurrencies are there?
There's a lot. Like there's
a
over
lot, is there?
5,500 different cryptocurrencies.
Wow.
But the ones that really are going to stick are the ones that are actually going to have a real world use case, like a real use case in the world that are actually going to be used. And those are the coins that I really want to research and learn more about. Like there's coins all the way from the real estate market to the health industry to the gaming industry, any industry you can imagine. There's a cryptocurrency in there, and the only way that kind of these cryptos will come into the market or will be used is if it's better and easier than what we have today, right? And if the technology is better and faster than what we have right now, that's when the shift happens, and we're slowly starting to see that. Bitcoin itself is the technology, is not that great because it's one of the first cryptocurrencies that's out there. There's a lot more cryptocurrencies that the technology itself is much better than Bitcoin because Bitcoin was the first one. So a lot of people are using Bitcoin as like a store of value, like gold, like digital gold. But for all these other altcoins, you got to really look at what these coins do, their usability, and there's the whole list of things that the research has to be done based on what they do and stuff. But it all goes down to are they being used inside the market, and that's it. Like, are they being used? Is the main target audience for that coin being used?
Yeah.
Is it better than what we have? And that works with everything. That's just history, right? Like, never bet against the technology that's better than what we have. The internet's one of the examples, right?
Yeah.
Blockchain, cryptocurrency is just another evolution.
Yeah. Right. So where would you, like, if you obviously have been doing this for the last 5 years, so you would probably have some ideas. I mean, obviously, disclaimer here, guys, he's not a time machine. He doesn't know, but, just out of, curiosity, where would you see, or where do you think this may be headed in the next 5 years?
I believe that it will coexist with fiat, with paper money. A lot of people are saying it's going to just completely wipe out paper money. I don't think so. I think they're going to both exist on the same level. There's going to be both equally important for each other.
Yeah.
There's already cryptocurrencies being used without us even knowing about it.
Right.
Like, for example, let's talk about the internet. The internet is built on a system that was pretty outdated. Like, the internet itself is really outdated. It's not that secure. It's not that private. And it's just built on technology made 40, 50 years ago, or however long ago they made it, right? Back in the military days, that's when they made the internet. But if they later on, which I believe this is going to happen within 5-10 years, they're going to move the internet onto the blockchain. And what that happens is me and you we won't see anything happen on the front end. We can still go watch cat videos on YouTube. We can still do these podcasts. But since it's built on the blockchain, the back end of it, it's more private, it's more secure, it's better than what we have right now. And that's pretty much how I see it starting to go down, even if we don't start seeing it on the front end. But there's a lot of things going on in the back end that just make it more safe, secure.
There's going to be more secure and safe. Will that mean, are you talking like it will be encrypted? So everything will be, do you think it will be more anti-establishment? So it will be taking it away from, because it's kind of how the internet started, right? The internet was kind of anti-establishment. It was like pure anarchy. Everything was up for grabs. And then, you even had the dark web, if you remember that, And I think that's how, if I remember rightly, I think that's how Bitcoin kind of got its footing to start with, and then that obviously got eradicated, and then all this other stuff. So yeah, so you see it going, but you see it going more into an anti-establishment, more secure way. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, well, anti-establishment, obviously it's going to get regulated. I don't think the government's going to be like, let the people, like, it's definitely going to be regulated. But what I mean by safe and secure, I mean, this has to do with companies as well. Like, for example, let me just, like Sony in 2012 or 13, they got hacked, right? They got hacked. And what that means is millions of people's credit card informations, addresses, personal identities got stolen because of something called a centralized system. And what a centralized system means is if they hack one point, everything gets compromised. And what blockchain does, it's not just one point of attack, it's decentralized. So if you've ever seen like a web, right? Like it's like a bunch of different points all connected to one another. That makes it stronger because, for example, if Sony was on the blockchain or was on a decentralized system, it would make it near impossible for hackers to get access to everyone's data, right? And this happens with not just Sony, but Equifax as well. For those of you that know Equifax, they're insurance, credit. They do a lot with credit stuff. The insurance companies get hacked. There's a lot of these companies that get hacked that leak a lot of this information out because they're built on faulty systems. Like it's faulty because it's outdated, it's old. And hackers nowadays, they're really smart. So I really want to push the technology of blockchain out there, and that's pretty much it. And it's great that we can profit from it and make money from it, but it all goes down to the technology of it, and that's where I see it going in the next 5-10 years.
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, obviously, regardless of whether it's blockchain or anything like that, I mean, you obviously have some strong ideas about that. But you're right. Obviously, the internet needs to be way more secure. It needs to be more encrypted. Obviously, blockchain has the technology because that's what they've been using to run cryptocurrencies, right? So, and that's obviously developing as it goes down as well, as everything would. So I imagine, I can see your logic there. I mean, obviously, I have no thoughts on that because I have no idea. But yeah, it sounds like an interesting concept, and you may be bang on the money there, to be honest. I mean, like that could be exactly what happens, because if they've got the technology, like you say, and I'm with you. I think as well, everything will be regulated. I don't see we're going to ever go back to anarchy. Yeah. It seems to be that's a thing that happens in society when something new comes along, right? Something anarchy exists for a short period of time, and then everything gets, like all the police forces in the world were all formed independently because that's what we needed, right? We couldn't have anarchy, people running amok without some sort of police system, and all the different countries of the world all developed that independently without consulting each other. They just anarchy tends to sort of live for a while, and then it goes into some sort of, yeah. Anyway, sorry, I was a little bit off track. I was just sort of developing that thought.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yeah. So what are the opportunities right now? And then we can, obviously, I know that you have some free training that's going to be available to everybody watching today. So I'm going to put the link up on the screen in a minute. And I'll also make the link, if those of you watching on YouTube, then I'll put the link in the description. And also, if you're listening on my podcast, then I will actually obviously put it in the show notes. And you guys will be able to go and get Iman's free training. And obviously, he has an offer at the end of that. You guys know how this works. But yeah. So what's the opportunity right now then? What do you? Why would somebody like obviously I'm your target audience. Why would I want to come and watch your thing? What would be my main opportunity right now? Do you see?
Well, the free training is really breaking down exactly what's going on in the world, right? It's what's going on, the stuff that the news doesn't tell you about. We really just break that down and show you exactly what's going on, because the governments of the world, the countries, are working on a digital currency. They're working on their own. Each country is working on their own digital currency. Almost 80% of the developed countries in the world are scrambling to put together their own digital currency. Like, that's what's going on. So the opportunity here is just getting involved. Like, I would just say, just create your accounts, get involved, just understand how it at least at least understand how it works, right? Because no one's gonna tell you about this, but they're like, you don't see it on the news or anything. It just blows my mind. And recently, literally June 23rd. So right now this is June 24th. Yesterday, June 23rd, there was two pieces of news that got released that was huge. The first news is in America, mostly local CVS stores and 7-Elevens will now have Bitcoin ATM machines.
Wow.
That's huge. They're rolling that out.
I'm confused. So ATM, because Bitcoin doesn't have a note, does it? So
Right.
what does that mean?
So you have to get a wallet. So let me see if I have mine around here. I don't. But pretty much the way they're making it work is you give it cash. It's like a machine, and then it's like a wallet ID. You give it your wallet ID, and it puts the Bitcoins in that wallet ID.
And then when you go to the ATM, it's going to take out the equivalent of currency.
Yeah, whatever the rate is.
In cash. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, something you said earlier as well, I thought was quite interesting. You said, do you see paper money going away? Some people say no. But actually, it's pretty much gone away, isn't it? Like how much cash do we get out of ATMs these days? Like, I mean, in the UK, we have this thing called, it's probably the same in the US, right? But you literally just flash your card. You don't even need to now, if it's under £30 in the UK, it's like
you tap it, right? Yeah.
Just tap it, yeah. You got that, yeah? So, so basically you just tap it, right? And I rarely take out cash now, like hardly ever. So I wouldn't mind betting that they're producing a lot less cash when they mint cash every year. I bet you it's gone way down.
Right.
Because, when do we need cash? We don't need it at the shop. We need it if we go into a little cafe, but generally speaking, like when you think about it, it's very few places that you need cash, right? Yeah. So, obviously, if you take it out for a night out or stuff like that, people still use it. But I think it's it's decreased a lot, right?
And it's the same thing. Like it goes like exactly what I said about the internet thing, not knowing, like not seeing a difference in the front end. Same thing's going to happen with cash, I believe, right? With just spending money. Yeah. You're going to spend like we normally spend. If not, it's going to be easier, right? But it's going to be with a proper backend, not the US dollar or not something that gets inflated or deflationary or anything like that, right?
So I'll have a Bitcoin account, say for instance, and I'll be able to tap that in the shop. Is that what you're saying?
There's already things like that exist. There's Visa debit cards. Yeah. So there's already things like that being put out inside the market. Like no one's talking about it, but this is happening. Right. So
Iman's talking about it. So that's cool.
Right.
So guys, we're going to respect Iman's time. So I just want to say, first of all, thanks ever so much for coming on and educating. Like I've learned how long have we been on? I'm not quite sure now. It's hard. Yeah, about just over half an hour. In that half an hour, you've opened my eyes, and I have, some of the things that I didn't even have a clue about. Like, obviously coming on and just sharing his knowledge. I know that obviously he's free training. He's going to share more knowledge. He's obviously got some nuggets in there that you guys could learn from. I'm going to be signing up for it. So what I'll do is I'll put the link up on the screen. And you guys can go and literally access that right now immediately. It's an evergreen training system, so you can actually, is that right? It's evergreen, isn't it? Yeah. So they can sign up now and watch it. So that's cool. So I just wanted to ask, is there anything else you wanted to add that I may not have asked you that you think would be quite interesting for people to know?
Honestly, just educate yourself before you get into anything like this. There's a lot of hype in the world. Instead of just putting money down into whatever, just educate yourself. And that's all I can say about that. Education's key. Invest in yourself before you invest in Bitcoin or invest in whatever. Just invest in yourself first. Understand this technology, understand what you're getting into, because this is the future, but it's important to understand it before you put money into it.
So those watching on YouTube, guys, put a question down in the box now. If there was something, maybe we'll bring Iman on again later in the future. We'll actually, we'll bring back some of these questions and I'll ask him personally for you guys. Just hit down below in the comments and let us know if there's one thing that you're kind of a bit confused about with Bitcoin. I could probably talk to Iman for like hours and hours and hours because there's so many things that go around my head with Bitcoin. crypto. See, I keep calling it Bitcoin, and like you say, there's 5,000 cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
So cryptocurrency, there's so many things that I could ask. Like, I didn't even know that there was 5,000. I thought there might be like 5, right?
Right.
But there you go. So yeah, if you've got anything you want to ask, and then maybe we'll bring Iman on, and obviously, just say hello, say well done, say thank you to Iman just for hopping on with us. Like, he, taking some time out of his day. It's amazing. So, mate, thanks ever so much. I'm really looking forward to connecting with you at the next thing down the road. We'll probably sort of keep going in different paths but similar. And I just want to say thanks ever so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome.
Cool. Take care, man. Cheers.